Welcome to Phonogenics 101, a Riotboy production hosted by Jeremy Gloff. The podcast where people who love music discuss albums track by track. Please hit subscribe, and if you'd like to support this podcast, patreon.com/Jeremy Gloff or Venmo @Jeremy Gloff. And now, on to the music. Happy afternoon, everybody. It's a Sunday afternoon / evening where Tadia is. We're the Emmylou Phonogenics 101 podcasters, and we're here for our third episode together to talk about Elite Hotel. Gentlemen, is there anything you wanted to say about the last few weeks of your life since the last podcast?
Well, I got this book in the mail, this Jeffrey Himes' new book from co-published by Illinois and the Country Music Hall of Foundation. It's pretty good. It's got some interesting details about the sort of pieces of the sky Elite Hotel sessions and stuff.
Okay.
I've also found a number of mistakes in it, but
only 1,000 copies have been made of this book, so go grab it if you can.
Really?
Oh, really? Yeah. Yeah, I got it. I almost bought the paperback, but I said, why not get the hardcover?
Yes, sir.
But it's, like he says that John Hartford never made an album under his own name until 1971. And John Hartford's first album under his own name was in 1967. And he made like 4 albums or 5 albums before he did that Aeroplane record.
Jeez.
So there are a few little mistakes in it. But
Well, as I did a little bit of research now, before we go into the discussion, let me just clear up a few things because people all want to comment on YouTube all the time, which is fine. But we are just music lovers. I don't go fact check everything I think about every album. We're just speaking from our collection of knowledge and experience throughout the years. We are not getting paid to do this, except for my Patreon subscribers. Thank you. But if we make a mistake or there's something wrong to say in the comments, kindly, we're always happy to learn more. But our goal here is just to take every album and discuss it track by track. On the Fleetwood Mac podcast, someone ripped me. Well, you should have been discussing all the outtakes. That's not this podcast. We're taking the album that was released and discussing it song by song. So I just wanted to clear that up with love because we're just here. We love this music and we just want to talk about it. So tonight, Toddy, what time is it where you are?
It's 6 o'clock in the evening.
Okay. So you're gonna be eating dinner after this. If you have any room after that cake you just ate,
I will see.
So it's interesting doing the Emmylou Harris podcast because we could say this is her second album or her third album. Let's decide right now. Are we counting Gliding Bird, or are we just gonna pretend it doesn't exist?
well, we did a podcast on it, so I guess we're counting it, huh?
All right. So this is her third album, and then 13 will be her 14th album.
All right.
Well, I didn't realize that this album was released the same year as Pieces of the Sky. They're both 1975. This was December. Pieces of the Sky was early in the year. Was it January, February?
Beginning of the year.
Yeah, beginning of the year. So imagine having 2 iconic albums released in the same year. The same thing happened. We're doing the early Fleetwood Mac albums, and they just had a string of classic albums all within 12 months of each other. So it's wild that back in the 60s and 70s, people just produced great music at high volume. So
Pieces of the Sky was produced during 1974.
Okay.
But they released it at the beginning of 75, yeah.
And then this was produced through most of 75, then released at the end of the year.
It was released on December 29th, I think.
Great Christmas gift in 1975.
Now, talk about an iconic album cover right here. Her outfit, we have the Greyhound station on the back. Emmylou is just beautiful.
Let's talk about the outfit, because that outfit on that album cover was actually a tablecloth that was brought to Emmylou by Mary Martin, who sort of like discovered her in the Red Fox. And they had it sewed to like a dress. And on this photo, she's wearing what she called her ketchup soup. What did she call it? No, her tomato soup boots. This dress is today in the Country Music Hall of Fame. It isn't in a private collection, but it's on display right now.
Ah.
They brought
Wow.
it out when they had the Songbirds, Emmylou Harris Songbirds Flight exhibition at the Country Music Hall of Fame, but they kept it. So it's still there now in the Country Music Hall of Fame besides her black Gibson J200 guitar with the...
Is it in that Western Edge exhibit now?
It is there now as well. Yes.
Yeah.
So,
I saw that. I missed the Emmylou show, but I saw the Western Edge.
right.
They got all 4 of the Burritos nudie suits there now.
They finally got it. So this dress was used during the Pieces of the Sky tour.
Okay.
And it was like, you know, she has her fringe on, and she moves very well on stage. However, she was making a photo session down in California. Mojave, is that what they call it?
Mojave.
Mojave. Anyway, yeah, she was there. This album was supposedly be called Wheels. So they took different kind of photos down there, photo session, when she wore this dress that Mary Martin had got her, and during the session she just sat down at the stair at a small motel, and they took a photo, didn't think much about it, came back and they looked through the photo and they saw that, wow, behind her was the sign of the door of the motel saying Elite Hotel. So that's how the album title became Elite Hotel.
And I'm gonna share the screen a little bit. Here's the Google Street View of the same place now, April 2024.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
So the building is still there. You can find the address on Wikipedia. And when they do street views, you can go back different years. So let's go back. If you go back to 2008, you can see that the different ways that this building looked throughout the years. So once you just sit on that porch and take a picture, I would absolutely love to do that.
You can do that. But Tom Wilkes, who took those photos, also took the photos for Pieces of the Sky, and he did Janis Joplin, The Pearl, and stuff. He did pretty cool.
Good.
Yeah.
So, gentlemen, what do you think? Do you think Wheels would have been a better title for the album, or do you think Elite Hotel is what it was meant to be?
I think that Elite Hotel today it's a classic. Elite Hotel, I love that title. Wheels would have been cool as well, but she took different photos in front of different trains. This photo session, I have it. If you go to the Facebook group the original Emmylou Harris Facebook group, I put out a collage of Emmylou Harris Elite Hotel photo sessions. And so there you can go in and see, you know, standing in front of the train and stuff. And I suppose that was supposed to be the album cover, sort of.
Oh, for Wheels?
For Wheels, yeah. You know.
It's interesting because Blondie had the same thing happen with their second album. They just took a picture from a place called Plastic Letters. And there was a sign that said Plastic Letters, and that ended up being the name of the album. So pretty cool.
I love Blondie. Elite Hotel is a cool album title. This album... There it is, yeah. This album,
I like that title.
I like it too. And to this day, there's a little bit like, we can argue about that, but they say that this is her bestseller. Some say it's Luxury Liner, the album that came after this, but they call this one the big one, the Elite Hotel album.
Interesting. See, I think of, not to jump ahead, but Luxury Liner is like the big one for me. Which we'll talk about actually next week.
Yeah, sales-wise, Elite Hotel was a smash.
Had 2 #1 singles too, right?
It did. It put her right on the country charts. I mean,
yeah,
she did have 2 #1s. She had also #3 on the country charts, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, that she had also Here, There, and Everywhere on the pop charts.
Yep, you're absolutely right. I just read it.
Number 65 on the pop charts.
Right.
Well, thinking about the title Elite Hotel, I feel like so much of the album is about different cities and about movement. And when you think about travel and kind of a vagabond transience, you think of people staying in hotels. So I feel like the Elite Hotel title was just a perfect twist of fate for the album. I don't think Wheels would have done it justice. And this album cover is just iconic. Like,
isn't that the coolest thing?
Yeah. I mean, when you think of Emmylou Harris, this is what you think of right here.
It is. That hair, that famous long black dark hair, and the long legs, and, you know, the hippie style that she had back then in the 70s.
Yeah, that's how I always remember her.
You do remember. I wasn't even born yet.
Yeah.
But interesting,
But
she's one of those artists I feel like has two different iconic looks because the older Emmylou with the silver hair is just as
Oh yeah.
iconic, I feel, in a whole different way. So
Yeah.
it's just kind of like Madonna, and like there's different versions of Emmylou that are part of the public consciousness. I think she's just as beautiful now as ever in a different, different
Yeah,
way.
I agree.
so her looks back in the day, when you look like this, she's so famous that for this look that she had with the long dark hair, that when they put up the Country Music Hall of Fame exhibition, Emmylou exhibition there, they first put up a photo of her with her sort of like white hair on top of the building.
Okay.
People didn't recognize her that much, so they had to switch to the other photos of her in her 70s. So they
Oh,
put up
interesting.
a computer photo on top of the roof of Country Music Hall of Fame, so people like see who it actually was that they were having an exhibition on. So people
Hmm.
would recognize the exhibition as her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a great road album, and it's the one that really represents the hot band at its height with James Burton, because he wasn't on the next record, right? Or he was Albert Lee had replaced him by the time Luxury Liner came out.
So this album, interestingly, it's I think because during 1975, when she had released Pieces of the Sky, Emmylou was on the road for a
Right.
lot. She toured a lot. So this album was made, I wouldn't say in a hurry, but it was made, between, touring. So a lot of the songs that went into this album are from the Pieces of the Sky sessions. You have some live tracks that was recorded at the Roxy, and then not many songs were actually recorded for that album. New songs, not many
Okay.
songs. So she didn't spend a lot of time in the studio for this album because she was busy. She was busy.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's nice that they have the 3 live songs all in a row on. Of course, that's on side B.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I saw the this hot band in I guess it was in the spring of '75 at Lisner Auditorium at GW, where I was a student. So
I bet that
that's
was great.
that's where I got my Pieces of the Sky signed, was at that show. But
So, having seen Emmylou in Washington D.C. and then seeing her with the hot band, did you feel like there was a higher level of electricity at these shows?
well, I mean, the hot band, it's hard to beat them. I mean, they're such consummate professionals. I mean, I loved the Angel Band. Don't get me wrong, I really did. But it was clear. She hired the best. Most of these guys had been on the Graham Parsons albums too.
Yes.
Pretty much the core of the band was on the 2 Graham Parsons solo albums. So she'd worked with them before, but to hire this band to go out on the road was probably not cheap.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
speaking of the album, in my mind, this isn't an album. My mom had a bunch of Emmylou albums when I was a kid, and this is one she did not have. So I didn't know about this album until I got a little bit older, which is funny because we're so famous. But I remember Pieces of the Sky, Luxury Liner, Quarter Moon, and I remember her buying Blue Kentucky Girl the day it came out in the record store, and then having that be part of my life. Like I remember the songs from it. So Elite Hotel, when I really got into Emmylou Harris in around 2000. That's when I moved to Florida. There's that website, All Music Guide, and I just started like researching different. I had like one Emmylou Harris record when I was a kid, and my mom loved her. So that's when I saw the cover of Luxury Liner. I'm like, oh, I remember this from when I was a kid. Let me listen to it. So that's when I collected all the albums. It's interesting. I got into there's very few windows in my life where I'm open to new music. I hate to say it, like I love what I love. People all want it, like you're gonna love this, and I never do. But for some reason, in these years from like 99 to 1999 to 2002, I just let new people into my repertoire. So Marianne Faithfull, Emmylou Harris, Flora Purim, who's a jazz artist. I just really did deep dives, and they became part of the Jeremy family of people that I loved. So, listening to Elite Hotel, I felt like they kind of took the template from the first album and kind of put some electricity in it, did some new things. But I felt like there definitely was not a sophomore slump here, if you're counting it as like her second album of this era. Do you guys have any thoughts on the general album before we go into the track by track?
I think that this is her first country rock album.
Okay.
Yeah, because she was you could hear that it had a different dynamic on this album than it had on Pieces of the Sky.
For sure.
The volume was up, and there was more. You could hear that the Hutman had taken shape from the last album to this one. It was more. The other album was more like soft country style, but this one was really like coming right out of the speakers, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Richard, did you buy this when it came out? Did you buy it as a new release?
I did. I bought everything I bought when it came out. I bought this, you know. I think I was checking the pressing. It's somebody said there was a mistake where they removed one of her fingers on later versions of the picture. And it looks like all her fingers are on mine, so I don't know.
That is actually true. That is true. The album was released in the first editions of the album had her finger that sort of like yeah, but she didn't. It was just I wouldn't have removed it. It wouldn't have been removed now.
Yeah,
but back then it was like it looks like she was. Yeah. But,
yeah.
What were your thoughts, Richard, having been a fan of hers and then putting this album on the stereo? Like, do you remember your first impressions of it?
Well, yeah. I mean, first of all, I bought Pieces of the Sky. I'd seen her with the Hot Band before I got this album because I saw her in like spring of '75. So I mean, whatever it was, I was going to buy whatever the next Emmylou Harris record was. And I did notice when you put it down, when you put them side by side with Pieces of the Sky, I mean, they both start with a Rodney Crowell song, although the one on Elite Hotel is a co-write with Emmylou. And they're both kind of upbeat songs like, you know, Bluebird Wine and Amarillo. You know, so when you first set the needle down on the record, it seems, oh yeah, this is going to be good, and it's a musing song,
right?
You know, the first song. So, but yeah, I mean, I loved the classic country stuff that she did, like so. I mean, I guess they released on Pieces of the Sky, they released Too Far Gone as a single, and it went nowhere pretty much. But then on here, Together Again, that became a number one hit. So I love that kind of classic, you know, either Billy Sherrill or Buck Owens type country,
right.
Which if you'd seen her as many times as I had, you'd heard her do a bunch of these songs already too. I mean, she did Wheels with the Hot Band. She did, you know, a lot of these songs, Till I Can Gain Control Again. You know, she was doing those songs for years in the DC clubs too. I think Till I Can Gain Control Again was the first song that she really fell in love with from Rodney Crowell when he came. He came down. First time he met her was at the Child Herald in DC. Rodney, and that's where I saw her the most. I saw her at the Red Fox, Child Herald. So, you know, I mean, I knew I was going to love it, and
yeah,
and I played this record to death. I didn't actually put the vinyl on this time, but I'd be surprised if I get through it without a few pops and here and there. Have they re-released this on vinyl at all?
Well, I got it as part of the box set that came out on the record store day. So this is a newer pressing.
Yeah, you can't get the box set anymore, I don't think.
No, it's very expensive to find, I think.
Yeah.
And I remember that I got this album in the 90s on CD. This was my first CD. And I got it for Christmas present. Yes, there it is. Yeah. The first edition you have there, the one on top. So back then, we didn't have a CD player in our house. So my mom and that was the Christmas gift. I remember it. I got myself, like, you know, those small CD players, you know?
Uh-huh.
And that CD, that only CD I had was Elite Hotel. Well, I remember getting that for Christmas, and I went up to my bedroom. I was not old. I was like 7 years old or something. And I played that album so loud that after Christmas, my parents had to go back and ask for another stereo because I broke the speakers.
Wow.
Was not the best quality though, but I broke the speakers from that one CD, and I played it over and over and over again. And especially Jambalaya was my favorite. I remember it. Yeah.
Yeah, I have both those CDs as well as this, so I've bought it at least 3 times now.
Yeah, because we remember in the 90s, LPs had started to like, they wasn't popular anymore.
Nope.
To get
Right,
they
right.
sort of like vanished. So I remember that we just threw out our LP player. My parents threw it out. We didn't have it anymore, you know, because we got CDs instead. And now it's coming back.
I've
I
got
love having
Angel
both.
Band on cassette.
Oh, gosh. Well, should we go into the track-by-track discussion of Elite Hotel?
Sure.
All right. Well, the album opens with a co-write. I think it's awesome. I feel like there's a level of confidence that goes even higher on this album. Like Emmylou's coming out very confident, very sure of herself. She's opening the album with the song that she co-wrote with Rodney. Amarillo. The guy's going to a pinball arcade, playing Dolly Parton and Wagner on the jukebox, spending all the money.
Yeah, and that song, she had played that song during the 75 tour a lot before she actually put it out on Elite Hotel. What I love about it is that song is when you hear the background vocals coming on the chorus, and you can clearly hear that Linda Ronstadt is backing there.
Oh, you can. She sticks out but blends in. You know what I mean?
So massive. You know, you hear it's powerful. As soon as you're there, there's this round, big sound that comes through the speakers. Like, yeah, they were never able to recreate that sound live ever without Linda there. You know,
right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's like when Linda sang on the Neil Young songs with Heart of Gold, right? I mean, when her and James Taylor come in, nothing can beat those harmonies. Jesus.
It's just
so old man. She also sings on that. Oh my God.
Clear. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I love this song. It opens with the steel guitar, right?
Yeah, it feels like a train wreck coming through the living room when you put it on the high speaker. You can just it matches the album cover and everything. I can just imagine Emmylou Harris just exploding on stage with that song in her fringes, and you know. It's a dark song.
It's a witty song. That's what I like about it.
Yeah,
you know, it's. I mean, it's a good joke.
It is. It's a good.
You're not going to listen to that black-haired Cajun queen. You're going to listen to a pinball and a jukebox and a pinball machine.
I like that she has like a little bit of like, he done played a trick on me. Like her little accent there.
The first degree.
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like
it's a good opening track.
Yeah, the upbeat opening track is a good thing. She did that on, and actually when we get to Luxury Liner, she really pumped that up from the Graham Parsons version. That thing rocks and rolls along. Just those opening tracks are real.
Opening tracks are usually high energy.
Yeah,
but I feel like Emmylou, like the energy was here for Bluebird Wine, then it was here for Amarillo, then Luxury Liner is just off the charts.
Yes.
She just kept one-upping herself with these 3 opening tracks. And then, of course, she switched gears on Quarter Moon. But we'll talk about that.
Oh, yeah. But that's a great song.
That's a great song, too. I feel like Amarillo looks backward and looks forward. Like, there's hints of the classic country, but she's still contemporary. She's looking into the future, bringing that kind of music into, the mainstream or the public consciousness. I don't know. I think it's a genius. It's a barnstormer.
It is, and I think that for people who was like not sure whether she was country or what, with this album, she showed them that she could really do country. The steel guitars and everything, and the harmonies and the bluegrass influences later in the album. Everything is there. It's the whole package.
Yeah, I think the standout thing to me on this cut, besides the harmony vocals, is Hank DeVito's pedal steel. I mean immediately I want to know how he does that, frankly.
Yeah, actually, I was at Hank DeVito's wedding when he married one of the sweethearts, and I asked him about that opening there, and they just tried out different stuff and they just invented it there on stage.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Yeah. Well, this song never lets up from the moment it starts. I mean, It goes from the first to the last second.
Yeah, never get tired of that song.
Yeah.
And it's one of the songs that I put on like when I'm starting off my day, not with a lot of energy. I just put in the CD and it just gets me going.
Yeah.
All right. Well, just like on the last album, I feel like the template gets out a little bit. We're moving to a very slow song for the second song. But however, this one was a #1 hit. Together Again. What a beautiful, beautiful song. Who's doing the harmonies here?
Isn't that Diane Brooks?
Diane Brooks and Faisal Starling.
Yeah, Faisal, of course, Faisal. But Diane Brooks, she used to record for Reprise as well. Brian Ahern also produced her albums.
I feel like they have like a... Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
She was a black singer. You could hear that she has the blues in her voice, you know?
Yeah, because she has like that accent, like, together again.
Yeah, she has that. Together Again was a song that actually Emmylou used to perform with the Fallen Angels and Graham Parsons as her song. So she did that song. She would do that song live long before she recorded it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then she did that later. She did that Play Together Again with Buck Owens, didn't she?
She did. And I think that she did that because of this song.
Yeah, because of this song. Yeah.
Yeah. Great.
Well, Faisal was, the Starlings, of course, were the heart of the Red Fox Inn bluegrass seldom seen scene. So
yeah, and I think that Buck Owens was also as country as you can get. I mean, he had the California style,
Yeah.
What do you call it? Bakersfield sound, and she was located in California, and this honky tonk sound, but the heavy steel guitar on it. It just. This song is, I think that maybe is one of her best known songs of all time.
Yeah.
Together Again. And her voice is so clear.
Yeah.
So clear on
it. I feel like the recording on this album is just stellar. Like Brian, what's his name? Ahern?
Brian Ahern.
Like he did such a great job of recording these instruments and having such a clear, crisp production.
It is. Such a great song, and always when I put that song, I don't play this album that often anymore, but every time this Together Again song comes on, it's like I get chills every time.
She just inhabits the heartbreak of the song so well. I mean, I don't know how she does it, because she's very cool in a lot of ways on the surface, but then her voice just goes there and kind of tears me up.
Buck Owens must have been very proud of her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. Like whatever Emmylou inhabits on this album, she fully like owns it. So whether it's like heartbreak or honky tonk, fast, slow, like she completely owns everything she touches here. I feel.
Just listening when she opened the song, when she just sings the first line, "Together Again." And you hear her voice, there's something magical with that opening.
Yeah.
She sings the first line before the instruments come in, It's beautiful. It's as country as it can get,
Yep.
The truck drivers would cry when they would listen to that,
when they're driving by the Elite Hotel. But that's why the album title just keeps coming up in my mind, how perfect it is for this set of songs.
Right.
All right, so after the heartbreak, Emmylou decides to go out for a drink to out her sorrows. She's feeling single, seeing double. Much like the first song, this is another a little bit of a stomper. I love this song. I just think it's got a little bit of a shuffle. It's a lot of fun. She can't think of an excuse that hasn't been said, so she's just going to be in trouble. But she really had a ball last night. What do you guys think of this song?
It's not my favorite song on the album, but for me, I think that when I saw her doing it live, it's such a good song to do live. A little bit rock number and a cute country number. But I usually not the song I listen most to, but.
I love the lines when I came home from work this morning. Like me, the sun was high.
Yeah.
I like the piano solo on this one. Who played
Oh
that
yeah,
piano?
Glenn D. Harden is amazing on this.
So good.
It's a great, it's a cool song. Yeah, but not my favorite on this album. But I never, I never skip it. I would say I just like never go looking for it. Yeah, but
All right.
it's a good song. It fits the album.
Yeah.
Do you know who did that? If anybody did that before her?
No,
I'm just wondering because it's
It was written by
come
Wayne.
on, Cat.
Written by Wayne Kemp. Who is Wayne Kemp?
He's a country songwriter. I don't know that much about him though.
Okay.
My cat is interfering with the podcast.
The cat wants to be on the Phonogenics one. All right. Well, now this is where the album really gets some gravity. Because, you know, she sang with Graham Parsons. The first album was full of his spirit, but not any of his songwriting. There's a tribute to him. But this is the first time on an Emmylou album that a Graham Parsons song is inhabited by Emmylou. And she just goes right into the middle of the song. We're talking about Sin City. She just goes right to the heart of the song and owns the fuck out of it. I'm just going to say it. Like,
it is like exactly what you just said there is correct for me too. I feel the same way. When I heard her sing Sin City, it is hers. I mean, this is for me, and I love the Graham Parsons version, you know, or Chris Hillman. But
the thing
for doing it is just it's in a category of itself.
It really is.
Yeah.
Whatever you can say about the Gilded Palace of Sin, the production values are pretty muddy on that record. You know, the first Burrito Brothers record, and I listened to the Burrito Brothers again this week, and it's faster. I mean, she slows it down. I think that's one of her kind of keys to nailing the song.
It's a great waltz.
Yeah. Oh yeah. She loves a country waltz.
She loves the country waltz, and also here again, her young, clear voice. You know, it just floats on top of the song, and the harmonies are great on that song.
Yeah, John Starling is the seldom seen singer. He and Herb Peterson do the harmonies,
and they were such a good harmony singers. You know.
Yeah.
And this is another one where she starts off with just very small, and the song builds and builds. She did a version with Beck later on, right?
She did, but that doesn't stand up to that one. This one.
No, this one is legend. I feel like this is just legendary. And honestly, like I was getting teary-eyed. To be ignorant, is this song about Las Vegas also? Or do we not know what the Sin City is?
No, it's about the I forget his name, Larry Spector, maybe was his name. He was the Burrito Brothers manager, and he was kind of a thief, and he literally did have an office on the 31st floor. It was in Los Angeles.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And why wasn't this the #1 country hit?
Yeah.
I don't know.
This should have been the third #1 on this album, you know?
Did they even release it as a single? I don't think so.
I don't think they did, but it would be a great single, you know? It's such such an Emmylou Harris classic.
Because don't you feel like a lot of people know this version of this song? Like I feel like this is a hit, even though it wasn't a hit.
Yeah, and I sometimes it's better, you know, when a song it doesn't hit on the charts, but it lasts some kind of way anyway, you know. And sometimes that's even better, you know. It's just it has such a high quality that they are kind of like known for it.
Because that's kind of like Tiny Dancer from Elton John. That was never a single or a hit, right? Till more recently, when it, for some reason, it entered the pop culture consciousness. But everyone knows that song.
It entered pop culture with Almost Famous.
Yeah, that's right.
I wonder if Britney Spears would do Sin City.
Yeah.
I love playing Sin City.
That'd be awesome.
I play with a mandolin player. We get together, we tear this one up.
Oh, I bet you do. No,
well,
it's like, and also it fits the album. It's it's some damn strong tracks on this album.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. And I feel like she does well keeping the album going because every song can't hit as hard as Sin City, but the things that she chooses in between are so perfect. Like just so many great choices here.
Yeah.
So after Sin City just tears you in half, One of These Days, kind of like cruises along. I love this song. I love the harmonies.
It's a Peanut Montgomery song. George Jones's friend. George Jones recorded this first.
She did hear it on a George Jones record, and she has played. She said she stole it from George Jones. She has said that on hundreds of shows, and she also likes to mention when she's singing it live that this is her mother's favorite song.
Oh wow!
So one
That's
of these
cool.
days, it's also a classic. You know, I think that people sort of like that song is many people's favorite song on this album.
Sure.
And
Now
and baritone, lead electric baritone, you know, opening bum 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 bum. It is classic, you know.
Who did the harmonies on this one? Did Emmylou Harris?
Jonathan Edwards.
Jonathan Edwards?
Yeah, Jonathan Edwards and Fay Sue and Herb Peterson.
Jonathan Edwards has such a beautiful voice.
He does.
Yeah.
Brian Ahern produced a couple of his albums after this.
Classics as well.
Yeah.
Love that production that he did on those albums. And if anyone haven't heard about Jonathan Edwards, and you can just listen to the Elite Hotel harmonies that is done on many of the songs, and you will actually recognize that on his own solo albums. Go listen to him. I recommend go listen to Jonathan Edwards. He's such a great singer.
Yeah, I've got a bunch of his records.
His album, what is called Sailing? No. In 1977.
Something.
I've got that one.
Great album.
I just feel as the song builds and the harmonies build, like it just doesn't get more perfect than some of the songs on this album. Like it's perfect music to me.
When they did that song charted on number 3 on the country charts. When they re-released the producer's cut DVD audio album, and that song was included there, and they have kind of like remastered it and put it in it's a different depth in that song if you listen to the producer's cut, and it was even clearer how clear her voice is on that version compared to this one. If you have it, listen to it.
I've got it somewhere. I have like my DVD audio section because there a few Fleetwood Mac albums came out in DVD.
I don't have that record. Should I get it?
You should get it.
Okay.
It's kind of expensive though, isn't it? A little bit hard to find, or am I imagining things?
You'll find it on eBay with a decent price.
It's got the picture from Luxury Liner on the cover, right?
It does, and it has have a great interview of Brian Ahern with Emmylou in it, and also it has the extra track with her and Johnny Cash, Old Rugged Cross.
Okay.
Oh wow! Does it stream?
It is up for streaming, but not in Norway.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so side 1 of the album ends with another Rodney Crowell song. We talked about it a little bit earlier, Till I Gain Control Again. This kind of reminds me how she ended side 1 with Before Believing on Piece of This, kind of like that acoustic. This song to me is a little bit more poppy or singer-songwriter-y than country.
Yeah, and she recorded that song during the Pieces of the Sky sessions. She recorded that song.
Really?
Yeah. So that song from those sessions, you could hear it. It has the same sound as the Pieces of the Sky album.
It really does. And when you said that, I'm like, wow, that really makes sense.
The personnel's the same. Ron Tutts on drums and Billy Payne of Little Feat's on piano.
Mm-hmm. And Linda Ronstadt on the harmonies again.
At the end, right? The fade out.
Linda, Jonathan Edwards, Diane Brooks, and Fay Sue all doing harmony on it.
Such a power. And like she said, that Till I Gain Control and Bluebird Wine were the first 2 songs that she heard by Rodney, you know? I guess that
I love this song.
He saved this song for this album, I guess, you know?
Because she didn't want to have two of his songs on the first one, is that why?
Yeah, because, I mean, she recorded Here, There, and Everywhere and For No One at the same time, and then Till I Gain Control again and Bluebird Wine at the same time. And she had more songs in the can that she wanted to release. I guess that she didn't want to have too many Beatles songs on one album, maybe too many Rodney songs on one album. She just, saved the best for the next.
Well, Toddy, I feel like Here, There, and Everywhere is, for me, kind of like Feeling Single is to you. Like, this is one, it's not one of my favorites. Like, I don't skip it, but it was just never one of my favorites till the end. I love that ending with all the harmonies. So,
Yeah.
So we're done talking about Till I Gain Control again, I guess.
Yeah. Does anyone have any
Okay.
other thoughts on that one?
I just love that song. I mean, it's just a great song. I mean, for me, this was that was the highlight of the album for me when it first came out.
Really?
Yeah,
Interesting.
And I think that
I
the song,
mean,
that song like grows on you. The more you listen to it, the better it gets.
yeah.
All right. Well,
But we can move on to the Beatles.
we flip over once. Now, remember the last podcast I talked about how I'm never a big Beatles fan. Here, there, and everywhere. Again, not one of my favorite songs on this album. And I'm probably being controversial, but just
It's not my favorite song on the album either, but it is a great rendition of a Beatles song. She had, I don't know, it's been years since Emmylou has performed that song live. She did
It beats the Beatles version all to hell, I think.
It does. If you listen to the Beatles version, this
Yeah.
is the one to listen to. And I think that Paul McCartney complimented her on that one. And he because the bridge they have made in that song, where you have the orchestra, you know, the violins, is not on the original Beatles song. And when they did that, Brian Hearn was the one that, you know, made that up to put that in there. And he, when Paul McCartney met Emmylou, he complimented her on that, he really liked the bridge that they put in there. He played that song for her in, I think he was in Nashville. He sat by the piano and she was so starstruck that she forgot to sing with him.
oh.
He's a big Beatles fan, you know.
And this charted, correct? On the pop charts?
I think
pop charts, yeah.
I think that it actually got a Grammy nomination along with Aretha Franklin. Wow. And Aretha won. And Emmy didn't.
Well,
I love Amos Garrett's guitar playing. He has the most distinctive style. He plays the little electric guitar fills in this, but he's something else.
I recorded that song also live with a tribute concert to one of the Little Feat singers. Again, Jonathan? No, he passed away.
Lowell George.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, they did a tribute concert. Bonnie Raitt, Linda Ronstadt, Emmylou, tons of great singers, and that recording has some kind of disappeared somewhere. They did record it, but listen to her singing it live and with only the guitar, her and Brian Hearn. It's fantastic how good that song is. Yeah, she used to do that song, you know, as an encore.
Well, I feel like if there's ever anyone to lose a Grammy to, it's Aretha. Like, we can let that one fly.
Wouldn't go on stage if I was competing with her.
I know. And I would be in the same room if I lost to Aretha Franklin, because she'd probably come over and snatch it right from you.
I would sit home and watch it on TV instead if she was there.
All right. Well, now we move on to the trio of songs that were recorded live. Now, once again, I'm being controversial. I never loved the live recordings because I felt the album was so crisply recorded that I always wish that Las Vegas was recorded with the same crispness of the other songs. But I see with the travel theme of the album and the wheels and the different cities why they went with the live honky-tonk kind of thing. So how do you guys feel about it?
So I can go first. I would say that I disagree with that because I think that the live tracks is one of the favorites of the favorite tracks on the album is the live tracks for me.
Okay.
It just shows how good of a singer she was live.
Sure.
It just shows that she was as good on stage as she was in the studio, where you could actually rehearse and do it 100 times over. She did it in one take and it sounds as it was in the studio. It also shows how good the hot band was. It was really, really on fire, you know, on stage.
Absolutely.
Those three tracks are, she recorded those tracks over 3 nights. Brian Hearn recorded in California at the Roxy. They recorded 3 nights there. All nights were recorded, probably for a future live album or something. So those tracks are from that show she did there, a small place, and she hadn't recorded in the studio these songs yet. So I guess that's why she included them, because she maybe, I don't know, maybe she didn't have time to record them in the studio, but I think that they just wanted to show off how good live they were, because she was very proud of having James Burton and those guys, in her band. Las Vegas, it's a great. I mean, that song is on fire.
It's on fire.
And the same with Jambalaya, that was also a song that she used to do with Graham Parsons and the Angel Band, and here from there to the Hot Band, you could hear that she has really put much more into it with the Hot Band than she did back with the other bands she was performing it with. It's really rocking, you can hear when she's like in the end of the song where she's like yodeling,
Yeah, she sure does.
Yeah, I like it. But Sweet Dreams, that song, which has become a Patsy Cline classic. Everybody said that she did the Patsy Cline song. That is actually Don Gibson.
Yeah.
But Emmylou, she learned it from Roy Orbison. She had a Roy Orbison album that she heard that song on, and that's the version. She only knew that version because in the 70s, Patsy Cline was sort of like forgotten.
Okay.
She came back in the 80s. So so it's the Roy Orbison version you hear. She sings there. And the way she sings Sweet Dreams is crystal clear.
Yeah.
They added a solo guitar on the album there, which wasn't on that was not recorded during the live performance.
They overdubbed?
They overdubbed with a guitar there.
What, the James Burton guitar was overdubbed?
I'm not sure if it's James Burton. It's where you hear the steel guitar start playing. It's on top of the steel guitar. I don't know how they did it. It sounds like a classic guitar.
Oh.
Yeah. But the single version is shorter and it doesn't have the guitar on it.
Ah.
And Sweet Dreams became a hit. Her first live release became a #1 hit.
Yeah.
Is the single version available on CD anywhere? Or is it only like on the old 45?
I think the single version is on the Anthology album.
Yeah.
I think you will find it on this album.
Okay, perfect.
Oh yeah. Oh, I've got that somewhere.
Yeah.
So you will hear the difference there. And I sort of like one day hope that that she will dig into the archive and just release the whole damn concert.
Yeah,
I know, that would be amazing.
They did release a 4th track from the same night that came out on Portraits called "You're Still on My Mind."
Oh yeah.
So we know it exists, but I don't know. It was anyway. It was the Hot Band in its prime. Those live tracks shows them how good they really were live.
I know.
I say like I don't know about the live, but I imagine an alternate universe where it was studio. The album might not have had the same fire. So I think ultimately she did make the right choice.
Yeah, and it shows how then, because I think that Emmylou Harris and the Hot Band was famous in the 70s and the 80s as well for their live acts. They were called the Hot Band because they were hot. And with James Burton playing, I mean, like she wanted to record that and save it forever, somewhere that she had him in the band.
So there aren't alternate studio versions of any of these songs hiding in a vault somewhere? Do you think this is?
I don't think so. Well, she did Las Vegas on Grievous Angel with Parsons too. They sing it on that album.
Right.
A little bit different version as well.
Yeah, I think I prefer the Elite Hotel version.
I do too.
It's really on fire.
It's on fire.
And I think that she used to do a song live that she did during that show called Shop Around.
Oh yeah, I remember her doing that.
Yeah, and that song I know was recorded in studio as well, but that's unreleased.
That was always a great moment in her club shows. My mama told me you better shop around.
Yeah,
she used to do "Your Good Girl's Gonna Go Bad" as well. That Tammy Wynette song.
Yeah.
She's gonna be.
I have a radio recording of her in the Hot Band doing that song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
But again, it might be. I'm not going to say that or dictate it, but I think that this was also maybe because she didn't have time because she was on the road, and this was just documenting what she has been doing the last
right.
year, you know. And since she didn't have the time in the studio to record a whole full blown album, that she used the tracks that she had in the can.
I mean, do you think it's fair to say like this album really established that iconic image of Emmylou Harris wearing the fringe, wearing the boots, on stages, honky tonk stages across the world, and having these live tracks really does, now that I think about it, amplify that image and kind of solidify it. So I just think now that I think about it and kind of talk myself through it, I don't want to say it was that strategic, but it's perfect.
Do you think she knew that James Burton was going to be leaving the band before this album came out?
I think, yeah, because he will join the Hotman only for a limited time because that was when Elvis was taking some time off. I think he was doing some movies or something. He was doing something differently or health issues or something like that. But he was taking time off. So Glenn D. Harden and James and who was the third one? Emery Gordy. They joined the Hotman, but the plan was always to go back to Elvis. But Glenn D and Emery, they loved to play with Emmylou, and I know from a fact that Emmylou, she paid her band really well because she wanted top musicians and she valued them, you know. And so I guess that, you know, and Glenn D. Harden, he said he would have done it again.
Yeah. Well, you know, because I saw the show in March '76, so I guess that would have been the Elite Hotel tour. Yes. And Albert Lee was already playing lead guitar with her by then.
He did join in '76, yes.
Yeah.
But James Burton, he was a busy guy back then, and he was used on a lot of studio sessions for a lot of artists, including Emmylou. He was still with Emmylou in the studio sessions from many years forward after he stopped touring.
Well, I feel like hearing that Emmylou paid her musicians well does not surprise me because he's such a lover of songwriting and musicianship and just being a fair person for the love of art. So not surprising to me at all that she treated her band well.
Very true. And that's why all her bands that she's been touring with have always been top musicians.
Yeah.
And people want to play with her because she's good. She knows what she wants.
Well, do you guys want to do like a brief touch on with each song? Does anyone, Ooh, Las Vegas? I love the Queen of Hearts is a bitch. Like she just rips into that line fearlessly. I do like this version. I just feel like it's just a stomper, and I love it. It keeps the energy going. That was established from from the first track on. Like it keeps the kind of jumping from city to city, from town to town. The travelogue thing of the album. Now we're in Las Vegas, and it's something.
It is. I think Ooh, Las Vegas is probably the best tracks of those three tracks there.
Okay.
Yeah. Although, I mean, I really love her Sweet Dreams.
Yeah. And so does most country lovers.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Tyler,
I was saying on my little Facebook thing, I've covered every song on this record now because yesterday I finally did Jambalaya. But, and I've done a ton of Hank Williams songs, so I don't know why I hadn't done that one already. But, that's a fun song, but I don't think it measures up quite to the other two for me.
One complaint about that song is I just don't like the first line. She's like, I feel like the song's like me oh my oh me oh me, like could have done a little bit better on some of the lyrics.
It only has two chords.
Yes, it does. I realize that. So where's the third chord?
What the hell is it?
Where's the truth?
No, but it was also a great live number, and I guess that's maybe why she didn't record it in studio, because it was kind of like a rock and roll live number. She speeded it up and I let the band play the hell out of it.
And her voice cuts right through that mix though and stays right on top, which is amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think Jesus Starling is also backing her on that.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. And
All right.
Rodney and Herb.
If people haven't heard about Jesus Starling, I would totally recommend to get her albums. She's a good singer, and she has done a lot of great music through the years. Actually, her first singles from 1974 is recorded with the Angel Band.
Did she write
Oh,
easy,
yeah.
easy from now on, or am I imagining things?
No, Carlene Carter and Susanna Clark wrote Easy from now on.
But did Feisu sing on it with her?
I don't have the album. I probably.
We're
Could
jumping
be.
ahead. I know we're jumping ahead, but that's where I first really saw her name was on those liner notes.
But she sings on. She
Green
sings
Rolling
on.
Hill.
What?
She sings the duet on Green Rolling Hill.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
she does.
That's what I'm thinking
Yeah.
of.
Well, she and her then husband sing on the next track, the little Leuven Brothers number.
We're moving out of the studio. We're moving out of the live stage and onto the studio. Satan's Jewel Crown.
Oh yeah, that song is. I always like. I don't know why, but I always kind of like forget about that song.
I did too.
I love this song.
It is.
There was a at one of the Joni Fests. Les Irvin and Kimberly and I and Jahida did this song. I was playing dobro, and we were directing it at Michael Paz. We were trying to save Michael Paz's soul. It's on YouTube. I'll send you the link.
Did you save his soul? Were you successful?
Oh yeah, it was pretty funny. We can do 3-part harmony, man.
Oh wow.
I think that that song is also, if I'm not mistaken, I think that song is also from the Pieces of the Sky sessions.
From what?
Well, I think it's from the Pieces of the Sky sessions. Somebody told me that it was.
Well, probably because it's got all the local people on it. The only addition is Brian Ahern on the bass. But it's got Mike Aldridge, who's the dobro player for the Seldom Scene, who was like, I mean, when I first took up the dobro, I went to see to the Red Fox one night, and when Mike Aldridge got off stage, I said to him, "Can you tell me how you do those harmonics on the dobro?" And he said, "Yeah, you cut the neck in half here, with the palm of your hand." And I said, "Oh man, thanks a lot, Mike."
Wow.
He was very generous. So here, and John Starling and Feisu are the supporting vocals. And other than that, it's just Emmylou and Starling on guitars.
She learned that song in John Starling's living room. They would sit in the couch after shows and stuff and play for nights and nights, and they taught her that bluegrass harmony singing.
And she sure learned how to do it.
Yeah.
But that song is also, every time I put it on, I'm almost surprised every time. I'm like, wow, I should listen to it more, and then I forget about it. But it's such a great track.
Yep.
Same thing happens to me. It's so distinct from the Leuven Brothers version too. If you listen to their version, it's on their what is that that one with the fire where they're standing in front of the burning flames of the devil. Satan is real. Yeah, it's on that. It's on that Leuven Brothers album. Satan is real.
How long did she keep this in her live show?
She tends to bring it out every now and then, but not so often. I have seen her perform it. She did perform it a lot when she was with the Nash Ramblers.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but recently not so much. But I know that she loves the song. She says that every time she performs it. She did cut that song again when they were doing the 25th celebration of the Seldom Scene, and she did record a live version of it. Yeah, but it's a great track. I mean, it also fits in that album as well.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah, I love it. I got to listen to it tonight. It's
well, the album wraps up. It's an album that has the perfect closing track. Like, you just can't, the perfect opening track and the perfect closing track. This is the third Graham song. So she did 3 Graham songs on the album, 3 out of 12. So that'd be 1/4. You know what? I can't do math. I'm too tired.
Yeah, that's 1/4.
Okay. Oh, whoa. 1/4 of the album was Graham Parsons songs. Wheels, the original title of the album, but what a this is a deep ass song. Like I was driving back from Orlando. I met Jim from the Fleetwood Mac Phonogenics podcast. He was in Orlando. I'm like, I got to meet one of my panelists in person since he's in my state. But this song really hit me on the way home, just because the whole world's in a transition and we've all got wheels.
Oh, and the harmonies on that song. Is that Jonathan Edwards again?
It is.
It's
Jonathan Fasu and Herb Peterson.
Yeah. I'm not sure if you guys can see this, but I do have the pop-up doll of Emmylou Harris wearing the Elite Hotel dress there.
Oh.
Yeah, ground.
Wow.
Yeah, there they are.
The first verse. We've all got wheels to take ourselves away. We've got the telephone to say what we can't say. We get higher and higher every day. Come on, wheels. Take this boy away. Like, and now with even more technology, we still can't say what we really want to say. You know what I mean? Like, things are a fucking mess. And this song hit me really hard when I was listening to it. I'm almost getting like a little emotion right now, even thinking about it. But like, Jesus, damn, Emmylou, you just kill me over and over.
Yeah, and that song is she's still one of the songs that she plays more. She plays it still in her shows today.
Yeah.
And it's
got that. It's got that. The whole album also has kind of a sin and redemption theme going too, and that's right there in Wheels in the second verse. I turned to him who made my faith so strong. Come on, Wheels, make this boy a man.
And she did record a live version in 1997 with Spyboy as well.
Oh yeah.
But
yeah.
It's like you said, it's a great closing number because it is one of the great tracks of the album. It's a strong track, strong song.
And I love how
so much so that when I hear when I listen to the expanded version, it's like the two extra tracks are just kind of like they seem much more extraneous in a way.
They're like wow wow.
Although I do love that. I love that Louvin Brothers hit "You're Running Wild," but
the Running Wild was just them playing around.
It's Rodney, right?
Yeah, just sitting on the floor, playing with the guitars and singing and testing out harmonies. It was not supposed to be recorded anyway.
I think it's always cool to have more material, but I'm an album person, so I like to hear how it intended to start and how it intended to finish. Like, and this is I just released a couple of my albums with bonus tracks, but where else do you put them besides tacking them onto an album? I guess you could do an album of like B-sides or unreleased tracks, but who would listen to that? But to me, the Wheels will always be the closing song in this album, no matter what is on a CD or digital. Like that's where this album ends for me.
It is. And the other extra track was a Cajun Born.
Yeah.
It's recorded in the 80s.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's not the same. The voice is different. The band is different. And it's not quite surprised that it didn't pick anything from those sessions to put there, instead, because they would have had more similar sound.
Yeah, they could have put in a couple more live tracks on.
Could have taken rock that they haven't heard,
And another thing I like about Wheels is how it goes so fast from the intro right into the vocals. It's almost like they're like just driving right into the song. I don't know.
And most of the songs are harmonies.
Mm-hmm.
Layers of harmonies just bouncing up and down through the whole song. And it's such a clear song. It's Wheels should have been a hit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing about Emmylou, such a master of harmony.
Mm-hmm. Just everybody.
Yeah, I mean, like, just think of, we're not going to do Desire, but that's pretty revealing that she could keep up with Dylan on that record.
I think she cut that album the same year, didn't she?
76, Desire. Yeah.
Well, any other further thoughts on Elite Hotel?
No, but I would say that if people want to start collecting or listening to Emmylou Harris album, I would say go dive into Elite Hotel. That's one of the first albums I would have listened to, because I mean, Piece of the Sky is great. It is a great album. It's a great debut sort of. But Elite Hotel. Sorry, Elite Hotel is such a standout classic album.
Yeah.
And it's still great today. You know, it is still fresh today when you listen to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel it won't be forgotten with time, because just think of like different articles, like this cover artwork always pops up.
And has a
It'll be 50 years old next year.
Huh?
It'll be 50 years old next year.
I better tell her that. Release it just for the fucking album cover.
Yep.
Yeah.
and take off the bonus tracks. Yes. Talia's right though. Take a room out of the Elite Hotel, book a reservation, because this is an album that must be listened to. Well,
there are 5 songs on YouTube of Emmylou performing at the Victoria Theatre in England, where she wears these clothes that she has on Elite Hotel, and she plays the songs from this album.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Go watch that. And also she plays Shop Around, where she can is jumping up with the tambourine and really big, you know. And I hope that they will one day release that show, because it is Emmylou on her height of her, you know, rock and roll country days.
Yeah.
Well, the time has come to rank the album. How do you rank Elite Hotel? Who dares to go first this time?
You guys go first.
I'll go. I'll give it a 10.
You're gonna give it a perfect 10. Oh shit.
Perfect 10.
Well, all right. I was gonna go 9, but my friend Jeffrey on the other podcast always makes fun of me. He's like, "You give every fucking album a 10." But you know what? I'm giving Elite Hotel a motherfucking 10 because it's classic. Like,
I agree with you guys. I would give it a 10 because it's such a great album. I mean,
it's legendary.
It's those 5 for his album. You cannot. I mean, they're so well produced, and the songs are so great, and the vocals and everything is timeless.
We're gonna have to give Luxury Liner 10.5 then, I guess.
I know.
That album, I have to do some really good research for that album, because that one we need to talk about.
Yeah. So
okay.
Are you guys still up for doing two weekends in a row?
I can do every weekend, no problem for me.
All right.
I'll do it next week. That's good.
We want to make sure to get these out before the holidays start, so we're gonna do our Luxury Liner episode next week. And I love spending this time with you guys. I hope we all get to hang out in person one day at an Emmylou concert. How cool would that be?
That would be great, and I will try to get back to the States next year. So I don't. You guys don't live in the same place, do you?
We're not that far though.
You live in
Florida. I live in Georgia. He lives in Florida.
All right, Georgia,
next to Florida, between South Carolina and Florida.
Interesting, because I have friends flying in for Christmas from Miami this Christmas. Yeah. So I have places to stay down there. So definitely heading down to Florida soon.
Wonderful. Well, friends, Elite Hotel. Let's get those wheels. I think I'm going to go for a drive right now and listen to it, because this is one of those albums, after you're done talking about it, you just got to go listen to it.
Exactly. I will do the same too.
All right. I will see you all next week where we get on that Luxury Liner.
Thank you guys. We're having so much fun. This is great.
This is the best. I don't want it to ever end. You. So good thing we have like 30 more albums to go. All right. I'll see you all next week. Bye.
Good night.